I recently read the book The First 20 Hours by author Josh Kaufman. You may have heard that it takes 10,000 hours to master a skill. But what if you don't want to master a skill? What if you just want to be good enough to enjoy using the skill and get value out of it, like playing a few songs on your guitar? Well, according to over 90 years of scientific research, attaining a level of competency with any skill can happen much, much quicker than you may think. If you approach skill development in a systematic way, you can climb up the learning curve and reach a point of noticeable proficiency in just 20 hours. Author Josh Kaufman says you would be astounded at how good you could get at any skill in just 20 hours. However, if you approach the skill development process without the proper game plan, you're unlikely to get anywhere in 20 hours. Here is a 3-part blueprint to rapidly develop any skill and experience surprising competency after just 20 hours. First, imagine disaster. Attempting to develop a new skill can be overwhelming. The faster that you can imagine a specific target performance with your new skill, the faster you'll reduce that feeling of overwhelm. An excellent way to imagine your target performance is to picture yourself in a situation using that skill within the next few weeks. Once you have that situation in mind, imagine the situation being a complete disaster. Let's say you've always wanted to speak Italian. The most effective way to break down the task of speaking Italian into something more manageable is to picture yourself in the next few weeks going to Italy and going to a small town where no one speaks English. You don't have access to data, so you can't use your cell phone. You are completely lost and you need to find your way around town, so you ask a local for directions. As you try to explain what you want, you use hand gestures and you stumble to find the right words. To mitigate this disaster, you'd first need to be able to introduce yourself. Then you need to know how to say the Italian words for the different places you want to go. Nouns like hotel, restaurant, or museum. It would then be helpful to know which verbs to use with those nouns. Verbs like to go, to want, and to need. And to help the local understand what you want, you would need to learn how to structure a question by using interrogatives, like where, when, and how. By imagining a situation where not having a desired skill makes that situation a disaster, you can come up with a list of sub-skills that you need to work on and the order in which you need to work on them. The second part of the blueprint is know just enough. Now that you know what to do, you'll need to know how to do it. At this stage in the skill development process, people spend too much time studying a skill and too little time practicing a skill. If you were learning how to toss a football, it's not very productive to study the physics of throwing a football for 5 hours before playing catch in the backyard. The sole purpose of studying a skill before doing it is to be knowledgeable enough to know if you're doing something wrong and how to fix it. The professor of linguistics at the University of Southern California, Stephen Krashen, calls this the monitor hypothesis. It states that learning before practicing is only valuable if what you're learning allows you to plan, edit, and correct yourself while practicing. When learning to toss a football, it would be helpful to spend a few minutes watching a collection of highly rated YouTube videos or flipping through a stack of top-rated football instructional books. Once you've found a consensus from 3 or more sources on what a proper football tossing technique should look like and feel like, then it's time to go outside and start practicing. The moment you understand how to execute a sub-skill and how to self-correct, drop the books, turn off the videos, and go practice. As you practice, you'll come up with more questions to study, and you can go back to the resources looking for specific answers. If you want to shorten your study time, use coaches or mentors to point out exactly what you're doing wrong. When possible, use software programs like Musician, an app that gives you real-time feedback as you play the guitar to help you self-correct while practicing. To make the most of your first 20 hours, learn just enough to self-correct. The third part of the Rapid Skill Development Blueprint is struggle and sleep. Author Josh Kaufman wanted to see if he could learn a skill in 20 hours that would overwrite a skill he had been using for most of his life. So he set out to learn a new typing method. he wanted to go from the standard QWERTY keyboard layout to a more efficient Colmac layout. His research revealed that typing with a Colmac configuration reduced finger movement, improved typing accuracy, and reduced his chances of getting carpal tunnel. So Josh made the switch, and he was frustrated immediately. His typing speed went from 60 words per minute down to 5. Josh said it felt like he was missing a part of his brain while he typed. He used his delete key so often that he thought he might wear it out. He desperately wanted to quit, but he vowed to commit 20 hours to developing the new skill, so he pushed on. Surprisingly, after the 14-hour mark, he was able to type 40 words per minute with perfect accuracy. At the 20-hour mark, it felt like his fingers were effortlessly making words appear on the screen. He decided to push on, and after 22 hours, he was able to type 60 words per minute flawlessly. He now looks back at the old way of typing and wondered why he typed so inefficiently for so long. That 20-hour commitment allowed him to push through the frustration and develop a skill that he'll benefit from for the rest of his life. Josh was able to develop a new typing skill because of how he systematically broke up his 20 hours of practice. By breaking up long practice sessions into short bursts separated by periods of sleep, you can dramatically improve your ability to develop a skill. Scientists don't know much about sleep, but they know that sleep consolidates and encodes what we learn during the day. In the book, Josh reflects on how sleep played an important part in developing his typing skill. He says, "My first practice session was horrible. I couldn't get anything right, made mistakes constantly, and barely progressed past the characters on the home row. After a full night's sleep, when I sat down in front of the computer, I noticed that I was making fewer mistakes. Sleep had consolidated what I'd learned the night before." Science reveals that developing motor skills is most effective if we practice those motor skills within 4 hours of going to bed. Josh also found a direct correlation between how intensely he practiced and how much he improved the following day. If he spent a few hours casually typing in the new configuration, he made zero improvements in typing speed and accuracy. It turns out the brain only bothers to upgrade your abilities during sleep if you struggled during the day. Therefore, the equation for rapid improvement is short bursts of struggle plus sleep. The more intervals of struggle and sleep you experience, the faster you'll improve. To make the most of your first 20 hours, I recommend practicing your desired skill for 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes at night for an entire month. The morning will give you an opportunity to practice without distraction, and practicing in the evening will increase the odds of consolidating that skill while you sleep. If you practice intensely and systematically for 40 minutes a day, at the end of the month you will have accumulated 20 hours of deliberate practice and be surprisingly good at whatever skill you want. That was the core message that I gathered from the first 20 hours. There are many more examples in the book of how to rapidly improve your skills. I highly recommend it. If you like a one-page PDF summary of insights that I gathered from this book, just click the link below and I'd be happy to email it to you. If you already subscribe to the free Productivity Game newsletter, this PDF is sitting in your inbox. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a productive day.